Today's video is probably going to get me into a lot of trouble because I want to talk about fitness influencers and steroids. Now, here's the thing. Social media in general is a cesspool. It just sucks in general because a lot of times, and this doesn't just count for fitness influencers, it's people talking about how much money they have, their homes, all this stuff, and they put up this front, this artificial front that everything is great. You see the best moments in their life and you think, my God, my life sucks. But you don't know they're in a ton of debt. They're renting stuff. As a matter of fact, I saw people doing things where they say they're on a private plane, but it's actually a photo studio of a fuselage in first class, and they take the photos and they act like they're flying in their own private jet to a location or whatever kind of thing they're doing. So you really need to be very careful when you look at social media, and even here on YouTube. I try my best to be as informed as I can and give each and every one of you, sharing my experiences, what I know. And if I don't know, I just say I don't know. I'm not an expert at this. I'm not a fitness influencer or fitness expert. I'm just a 53-year-old retired professional wrestler, a skinny kid from Philadelphia that's just sharing my journey. And today I want to share even some experiences I had as a professional wrestler, which most will not talk about, those heavy-handed hints about using steroids, growth, and PED. But the fitness influencers, I think, on a broader scope, they do a lot more damage than good. They really do. And I can't even mention a recent influencer that has a Netflix special who's already been exposed for using steroids, PEDs. It's been a well-known fact outside of just the eye test of looking at this dude, and then he just has these different tenets and all this stupid stuff, but people buy it because I think at the core, and I'm like this too, so we're together in this. Why would he say it? Why would he write it? Just like supplement companies, fitness companies we talked about in the previous video. Why would they say it if it wasn't true? Money. That's why they'll say it. And also, it's just in everybody's mind, including my own, that that person there must be working out harder than me, must be eating better, he just must know more than I know. So let me go listen, let me invest in the program, let me just see what this person has to say, because they obviously know more than I do, or else they wouldn't look like that. And they're not lying to me. Why would they lie to me? Once again, money. Now this becomes really, really dangerous for myself and others out there. I'm 53 years old, so as you get older, obviously you're gonna have to change your training. And of course, I've talked about the Rocky training montage stuff that I need to avoid, that I need to cut back from. I need to work out with intensity, but I also need to work out smart and realize that recovery is a big tool, nutrition's a big tool. And also, as I look, just like everybody else out there, and I'll share the story just from this past weekend, every time they look at a fitness influencer or somebody that's an incredibly, we call it an action figure shape, they look like an action figure. You're like, my God, they must be working out harder than I am. They must know more than I know. I really suck. And here we go with that saying, comparison is the thief of joy. And when you're looking at these people, more specifically fitness influencers, you're motivated and inspired, but you're also discouraged at the same time because they're truly unattainable goals. Now you could probably, in my estimation, when I look at people that are truly natural and lean and fit, or some people have a natural genetics to be huge freaks without even working out. I've encountered those people too during my wrestling career. They don't even work out. They just have a natural country strong build, or they're naturally shredded or whatever. And that is an anomaly. That is a small percentage of what I'm talking about with fitness influencers, athletes, professional wrestlers, actors. Everybody looks at the Marvel people and you got to look like a superhero. And all they say is chicken, rice, and broccoli. And I worked out 3 times today, and I worked out for 4 hours each session. You'd be dead. Let's be honest. That is the chicken, rice, broccoli, and multiple workouts per day for hours per day. You need to recover. I wonder how that's happening. Maybe I need to get on some PEDs because I'm having trouble holding up this Osmo Pocket 3. I need some performance-enhancing drugs for the walk and talk video. All right, so let me share that story about the heavy-handed hint when I was wrestling. And I've talked about this before on my show and in other videos, but I just want to remind you that I was tempted, but not tempted enough to do it because I knew the potential side effects as years and decades went down. For example, somebody approached me multiple times during the course of my WWE career when I was favored, but I wasn't quite breaking that glass ceiling, as they say in wrestling. I wasn't able to grab the brass ring or go to the next level. Whatever cliche you want to use, I was doing very well, but I could have did even better if, and I'm quoting the person that said this, if you could just manage to gain 20 pounds of muscle. And this was like 3 or 4 weeks out of a pay-per-view before it. And like, if you just figure out a way to gain that much muscle during that time, we might even be able to put you on the pay-per-view if you're looking bigger, and if you just gain that weight, I think it could really help you with opportunities here in the WWE. And I said, well, are you asking me to do steroids? Whoa, no. I didn't say that. I just said if you can manage to gain that 20 pounds, maybe even 15 pounds of muscle in a quick amount of time, I think it really could just springboard your career to the next level. I said, so you're asking me to do steroids, and somehow I know I'm getting heat with the office by just outwardly saying, so you're asking me to take steroids. No. We didn't say that. We never say that. We have a wellness policy, and that's just the way it is. So, but I just ended up not doing that, and that's, my career. Here's the funny part that I say, no matter what, you're eventually going to get fired in wrestling. No matter what, they're eventually going to go and transform you from a new toy back to an old toy. So you look at that and you say, okay, well, I'm doing all this stuff. Maybe I'll get the temporary money and fame or whatever it is, just like the fitness influencers. Eventually, you either have to stop, you have health problems. There's people that have died prematurely from heart issues and other types of internal problems from years and decades of steroid abuse. I think that's the thing too. There's TRT out there, there's other types of therapy that people do, and everything in moderation can be beneficial. But you involve the ego, and then you combine it, like I said before, fitness influencers, and you combine just the unrealistic goals within a time frame. And it's a recipe for disaster. So as somebody that's 53 years old, I'm still not immune to this. And I'll tell you the story about recently. I had to watch AEW All In. I had to watch WWE Saturday Night's Main Event. And as I'm watching that, I'm saying to my wife, I really need to work out more. I need to get bigger. I need to get back in shape. I'm subconsciously looking at some of the people who are natural, but some of the people are definitely not natural. And I'm looking at that going, I need to be motivated, quote, to look like a wrestler again. I need to go back up to 215, 220. I need to do these things. Now, mind you, I'm not tempted to go on any kind of steroids, growth hormone, or anything like that. But at the same time, it starts to make me feel much more less than the people I'm watching on these pay-per-views. And, the Saturday Night's Main Event was a TV special. And it's the same thing with fitness influencers. I've avoided social media for over a year. It's been great, and my mental health has been better. We're going to do a video about that. But at the same time, I have to cover wrestling for the Stevie Richards show and the other podcasts that I do. It festers back in. It's a constant struggle for me to say, I'm enough. I'm really making a lot of progress. I feel great. I'm still 2.5 years after the spine infection, which we've read up, and it just has such an effect where it takes years to sometimes go back to the way you used to be. And right now I'm about 190 or so. I don't look like I'm out of shape, but my ego and the previous wrestling ego that I had is very, very hard on myself. So these kinds of things with the fitness influencers, or in general, when you look at somebody, you don't have to be like, oh, they're obviously on that, so therefore I don't need to work out and do anything, because it's absolutely unattainable. If I can say it with my Philly accent, unattainable. You look at those people and you just say to yourself, that's great, that's what they do. But in my fitness journey, and especially these two, health and wellness, I'll add a third, longevity. Health, wellness, and longevity. You work out, you eat right, you rest properly, you do all those things, you will go to where you need to go. And obviously it requires hard work, like I said in the beginning. Whether you're clean or not, you have to do the work. A lot of people don't do the work and they end up doing steroids, PEDs, growth hormone, and all this stuff. And it's a waste because they're not pushing their intensity and they're not working out. But then again, they do that. And this is the reason why a lot of them end up tearing pecs, tearing biceps, tearing triceps. And now you're in a much, much worse position off of something that really just doesn't matter in the end. It does not matter in the end because you're eventually going to have to train correctly, eat correctly, rest correctly, recover correctly, and that's what it is. It's accountability. This here, like I said earlier, in certain ways with TRT and other things can be beneficial, but the human condition and the human nature is not less is more, but much, much more is much, much more. So I need to do more. And, you know, the fitness influencer that had the Netflix special, obviously trapped himself a couple times. A lot of these influencers eventually get found out for it. Do people care? I'm not so sure. I'm not so sure. I'm just making this video for people out there that look at fitness influencers or other people on TV or these ads or on social media and just say, oh my God, how can I achieve that? That person just works so hard and they're telling me they're clean, so they must be telling the truth. Not saying everybody's lying, but use the eye test. Use the action figure eye test, as I call it, and you'll be able to really sniff it out. And guess what? They're an individual. You're an individual. I'm an individual. We're all adults, even though I play video games at 53 years old. I'm somewhat of an adult, and I can make my own decisions. And if I make those decisions, positive or negative, I have to live with the consequences or the benefits, or I have to just go off on my own and get away from the peer pressure of social media and other things and listen to people that have my best interest. And if there's nobody out there that has your best interest in mind, you need to be your own fitness influencer. You need to be your own person that you listen to, and you need to follow your own path. It's quite freeing. It's quite empowering. It's also terrifying because once you start comparing, like I said before, then you start to get into trouble. So hopefully this makes sense to you. I just wanted to give my experiences and tell you, follow your own path, follow your own journey. Even in the past, I've done stuff where I show how I'm doing like all these very intense things, thinking I'm motivating people. But in the end, I was like, maybe I'm motivating some people, but I could be intimidating other people. And that's something I need to work on because I have an ego like anybody else and I want to show off and what I could do. But that's not what I feel like my place is. My place in the fitness community, the health wellness community, whatever you want to call it, is to help others and hopefully share my emotions and also my shortcomings, and we can all try to figure this out together. So I hope this video helped you. Please comment below. Thank you so much for watching these walk and talk videos. We are still in the neighborhood, but we're going to a brand new location in a brand new state very soon. I'm going to do a few of those videos there so you can see some a little bit different. We also have state parks here in Florida and other places to go. But it was really on my mind this morning after watching the pay-per-views and other things that I found myself going into that direction that maybe some people out there like you are going into as well. And let's all just stop together, help each other, foster a community where we lift each other up, we help each other, and we tell each other, hey, you're enough. Don't listen to that. Don't look at that. Let's just all work hard and try to be the best versions of ourselves. So thank you so much for watching this video. God bless each and every one of you. Have a great day.